कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Nectar of Devotion summary study Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. We are practically on the 13th chapter end, the five potent limbs of devotional service. Yesterday we discussed how Rupa Goswami, while quoting the verses on 64 limbs, although he has described these five limbs, but he again in the last few verses gives with added emphasis these five potent limbs, and we discussed what that emphasis is. It's not just deity worship, shraddha visheshata, with deep faith and preeti, with love. That kind of devotional deity worship will lead to bhava. Or it is not just studying scriptures, Gita Bhagavatam, but Bhagavata Artha Rasa Asvado Rasikasaha. Rasikasa, with Rasikas, we should relish the deeper meanings of the Bhagavatam. So we saw the famous verse Nigagama Kalpataror Ghalitam Phalam Shukamukad Amrita Dravya Samhitam. And we saw how for each and every Sanskrit line and term, Jiva Goswami has given the artha and how we could relish it. Although as sadhakas we might not be so philosophically good in Sanskrit and good in bringing out the different meanings which the Acharya has given. But yes, we have an opportunity to hear very exalted sannyasis speak on the Krishna Katha. So this we should do, and this is highly potent, which can lead to Bhava Bhakti. So we have finished these two among the five potent limbs. So today we will take up the next one. So the next third limb, potent limb, is Sajati Stigdha Sri Bhagavat's Bhakta Sango. So I mentioned it is not that association with Vaishnavas, it is just not that. Here Rup Goswami is mentioning association with like-minded. Sajati. Sajati means like-mindedness. Ashaya means they have that kind of desire. Snigdha, they are very deeply thick, you say no, in English, thick friends. Snigdha and Bhagavad Sangha, affectionate devotees. So here, the evidence he's giving from first canto, Yatha Pratame. So let us go through this now. Tula, tulayam lave napi, na swargam, na punarbhavam, Bhagavad Sangi Sangasya, Marta Nam Kim Uta Shisha. So this is Shaunakadi Rishi speaking, or I don't recollect, maybe it is Parikshit Maharaj speaking. The value of a moment's association with a devotee of the Lord. Lavenapi api bhagavat sangi sangasya. So lava we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita is 1/11th of a second. Cannot be compared. Na tulayama. Tulayama means, we cannot compare it. Tulna nahi kar sakte uska. What? Even to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. Swargam apunarbhavam. What then to speak of Kim Uta, worldly benedictions in the form of material prosperity, which are meant for those who are destined to die. Martyanam Ashisha. So if heaven and liberation, it cannot be compared, then what to speak of any material prosperity? So this is the glory of associating with exalted souls. So let us see now what Jiva Goswami has to say. Bhagavad Sangi Sangha means association with persons who are attached to the Lord. So it is just not sadhu sangha or association with devotees, association with those devotees who are deeply in the core of their hearts attached to Krishna. That kind of association is what is being spoken. That means they are in asakti, bhava, or prema stage. Because attached to the Lord means they have asakti towards the Lord. Sangha means attachment. So definitely the point came out. Attachment, Maya sakta manapartha. And he who constantly has that attachment to the Lord is called Sangi. Even a moment's association with such a person cannot be compared to attaining the heavenly planets. In praising association of devotees, the sages at Naimisharanya show that I think I told you, it is the Shaunaka Rishi speaking, show that they have also a similar desire for association of devotees. So though the sages of Naimisharanya express their desire for association with Suta Goswami, this verse is used here as an example since it acts as a good instruction for others. So this is regarding Jiva Goswami's commentary. Further, the affectionate nature of the devotee, snigdha, should be implied from the verse. One should also see a similar verse in the fourth canto. So in the fourth canto also there is a very similar verse. Shanardenapi tule na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martanam kim utashisha. What to speak of any blessings on earth? Martyanam kim uta ashisha, or on swarga, even the blessing of liberation. Swargam apunarbhavam cannot compare. Na tule, even with even half a moment's association with the devotee of the Lord. Shana ardha. Shana, as I mentioned, lava. Lava is what. So ardha also, now it is half. So this is the glory of associating with exalted souls, especially the Mahabhagavats. I don't know whether I spoke in this forum or I don't know which forum, that once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the Chaitanya Math where he was residing, he was going in a bullock cart with his disciples, I think somewhere, I don't know, and he was holding an umbrella. And while passing in the bullock cart, there was one farmer who was tilling his land. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just generally spoke in Bengali, "Bhalo ache, how are you doing?" And this farmer responded back. So that's it. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur moved ahead. But because he heard the sound vibration coming from a pure devotee, that had an effect on his heart. And later on, this person who was tilling the land became a sannyasi and a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that is the potency of associating with these kind of Mahabhagavats. Now, Snigdha, in Ayurveda also there is, Ruksha and Snigdha. Ruksha means dry and Snigdha means oily, in fact. If you see leaves, sometimes on the surface, when the sun is shining, there is a shining this, and it is when you touch it is very nice. Similarly, Snigdha means the heart is very pure, gentle, because Krishna resides there, and they, just like on the bodily platform, there is affection for the body and the bodily connections. But these pure devotees have pure affection for Krishna, springing from the soul. So these kind of affectionate devotees, they are, it's like a contagious disease. If you associate with somebody who is now COVID, you will get it. So similarly, that association with the sadhu for even a shana ardham, you will get the disease of Krishna prema. This will bind in the cycle of birth and death with disease and birth, that really is. But this association of sadhu will liberate you, and that's what to speak of liberation to give you Krishna prema. So that is the potency. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur has given a interesting commentary. This verse explains how much we should speak of the glories of the great ocean of association with such great devotees who have become visible in front of us. So how great we should speak if we have association of these such great souls. We should not compare a moment's association with devotees who are attached to the Lord with Swarga, the result of karma, or liberation, the result of jnana. You cannot compare. If you compare, it is a great offense. If you compare association with the Mahabhagats with Swarga or with Mukti, we cannot compare at all that association with worldly blessings of men in this world, such as kingdom. So if you cannot compare with Swarga or liberation, how can you compare with getting a kingdom then? That is because by the association of devotees, the sprout of bhakti, which is very rare, appears. Why? This is the reason. Because in that association, they can get the bhakti lata beach. That is why, and with this, if it is nicely nurtured by Shravanadi Jal, it will fructify into Krishna Prem and ultimately will attain Krishna. So that is why we cannot compare this. Further, Vishwanath Chakratara, we should not even compare the results of karma or jnana with a moment association with a devotee or with a small particle of sadhana bhakti. What then to speak of a devotee association for of long duration or even more, and what to speak of bhakti which results from that association. Even more, what can we say about attaining prema which is a result of bhakti? These comparisons are suggested in the verse. Since it is used in the negative, the meaning is that we should not even imagine a comparison between devotee association and other items, just as one would never compare Mount Meru to a mustard seed. Will you ever think of comparing Mount Meru with mustard seed? So that is what how it is. It is rejected of Swarga, of liberation, or what to speak of any material benedictions like the kingdom in this world. So like that, we cannot do this kind of a comparison. We should never compare it. It's an offense. The verb is in plural number in order to suggest that it is not possible for anyone to disprove this statement since it is the opinion of many. The importance of association with devotees who are attached to the Lord may be in the explained in terms of the following verse. Na tatasya bhavan moha bandaschanya prasangata yoshit sangat yata pumsa yata tat sangi sangata. Man's bondage and bewilderment. Asya moha cha bandha is not due to na tata bhavet, attachment to objects. Anya prasangata, as much as yatha, it is due to his association with woman, Yoshit Sangat, and to his association with men who associate with women. Yatha tat sangi sangata pumsa. So our bondage in this world is not because of sense objects, but is because of association with women, and more than that, men who are associated with women. Now, among the two, which is more dangerous? Raise your hands who would like to answer. Among the two, association with women, Yoshit Sangha, or Tat Sangi Sangata Pumsa, or men who associate with women. Which is more dangerous? Which is more contagious in one sense? Yeah, one devotee has typed correct. What about others? Others are there in the discussion. Yes, another answer came up correct. Yes. Yes, it is men associated with women. And this applies both. For women, it will be men, and for men, it will be women. That has to be understood. Okay. Now, Interesting thing what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur does now. Just as those who associate with persons attached to women are criticized more than those who associate with women, association with person attached to the Lord is praised more and is more desirable than association with the Lord. So now I give you a choice. You have a choice to associate with the Lord or associate with his devotee. Which one would you prefer? Association with the Lord or association with his devotee? Okay. I want to see all the answers come. Let everyone type. Okay. 3 of them have answered. What about others? Are others there in the discussion today? You can type in the chat box. That will suffice. Okay. Yes. Now, I will ask question. Now you can raise your hands. Why those who have answered association with devotees, why that is more um, superior compared to association of the Lord? Who would like to answer? Who would like to answer? I would like to see some other hands also. Yes, Surya Kund Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Babuji, because Krishna will be more pleased when we become the servant of the devotees, and we have served the devotees.
Okay, that is true. But among the two, associating with the Lord or associating with the devotee, it is association with devotee. What can be? What is more? I want to hear something more about it. Okay, let me hear from our IYF devotees here. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru. So I think Krishna is the property of his devotees, and devotees can give Krishna to others. Krishna himself cannot give it.
Yes. Bhakti cannot be even bestowed by Krishna, which very rarely directly it can happen. So there are many, when Krishna was present, they associated, there were many asuras, they did not attain Krishna. But by associating with the pure devotee of Krishna, he can give Krishna to us. Krishna prem to us. He can give the Bhakti Lata. In fact, Bhakti is the Swarupa Shakti of the Lord. And this Swarup Shakti, Krishna has given it to his pure devotees. And he can distribute it. So that is how his pure devotees play a role. That's why we have to understand this very clearly. Okay. So just like this is opposite is very dangerous. Similarly, opposite of that, more than association of the Lord, association of his pure devotees is desirable. So, anyone knows any pastime to substantiate this? That a devotee, gave up the association of the Lord to associate with his devotee, with the Lord's devotee. Any pastime anyone knows? Anyone knows any pastime which is well known to us? Yes, there is one hand raised. Yes, Prabhuji.
Is it in the case of Kanchipurna in Srirangam?
Yes, exactly. In Sri Rangam, there was Kanchipurna. There was Kanchipurna, who was a pure devotee of the Lord, and he used to fan the Lord, and the Lord used to speak to him. They used to have a very conversation. Ramanacharya used to ask questions. Many devotees used to ask questions. So one devotee came and asked Kanchipurna, please ask the Lord whether I'll go back to Godhead. So Kanchipurna asked. So the Lord replied, yes, he has taken shelter of Sadguru, my dear devotees, who's a spiritual master, he has taken shelter, he will go back to Godhead. So Kanchipur suddenly became inquisitive. Let me ask about myself also. So will I go back to Godhead? Lord said, I can't say anything about it because you have not taken shelter of a spiritual master. Immediately Kanchipuram gave up the fan. He was doing the chamar. He gave it up and went into Goshala. Everyone, he was very famous because everyone knew that he should speak to the Lord. So he served, serving the cows under a spiritual master and took his shelter and took initiation. So that is how it is. Any other terms anyone knows where the devotee gave up the association Lord to associate with uh, his pure devotee? Anyone knows any other pastime? One thing which came to me is, the famous pure devotee of Rukmal Vitini in Pandharpur. What is his name? I think it is Pundarik or Pundalik. I don't recollect. So the Lord had come to see him, and he was serving his parents. And he made the Lord wait. He said, I'm busy serving your devotees. I can't meet you now. And he, when a guest comes, you have to welcome him. So he took a brick and threw it, stand on that brick. And Vitoba is standing there till now also. So the Lord had come, but still, his pure devotee made him wait. Yeah, Pundalik it is. Yeah. So this is how powerful it is. Okay, there is now the next evidence from the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya. Yasya yat sangati pumsa manivat swat satad guna swakula riddhe tato dhiman swayuthan eva samshayet. A man, pumsa, will attain the qualities tad guna swat of a person with whom he associates. Yasya yat sangita. Just as a crystal takes up the color of the objects next to it. Manivat. Manivat means just as. Therefore, tato, the wise man, Dhiman, will take shelter of those who have qualities like his own. Swayutan eva samshay, for the prosperity of his family. Swakula vridhe. So just like a parasmani, a stone, if you get any object, some color object, that color will start reflecting on the gem. Similarly, a pure devotee, heart is pure with Krishna prem. So any person comes in contact, his reflection will reflect on his heart. And that is why the Bhakti Lata seed can be sown, and that can give him prema. So that's how powerful is association. And I think Hiranyakashipu also speaks to Prahlad about this, and maybe it is that verse only, Hari Bhakti Sohadaya it is. So the opposite is also true. If you associate with the demonic personality, his qualities also will reflect in our heart. And that is why that is the power of association. So we should be very careful. So in a positive way, here in the Hari Bhakti Sohadaya, this verse is quoted. This Jiva Goswami, this verse makes clear the power of association with like-minded person using an example. This is a statement of Hiranyakashipu to Prahlad. I told you, this is Hiranyakashipu speaking to Prahlad. Though the demon's intention was otherwise, he was telling, otherwise, not to associate with Vishnu's devotees, but associate with my demonic people, you're saying. Because it is a general statement, it is possible to use the verse according to one's own intentions. This is the aim of the author. Manivat means like a crystal. It is used here as an example to illustrate taking up the qualities of an object in proximity, though it also has the quality of being completely unsteady, taking up any color of a nearby object. I explained that Manivat. So Swayuthan here indicates Jatiyan, like-mindedness. Now 63rd Anga, that is Sri Nama Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Evidence 1, Yatha Dvitiye. Dvitiye means the second canto. This is the famous verse quoted by Shukdev Goswami. Etan nirvidyamananam ichitam akuto bayam yoginam ripa nirnitam harer namanukirtanam. O King, Nripa, continuous chanting of the name of the Lord, Harer Namanu Kirtanam, has been prescribed nirnitam for devotees, nirvidyamanam for those who desire, for those with desires for liberation and material elevation, Ichitam akutobayam, and for those who are satisfied with the self, yogina. So this is the praman. Let us see the commentary of Jiva Goswami. Ichitam refers to those desiring material satisfaction, that is the karmis. Nirvidyamanam refers to those desiring liberation. Yoginam refers to liberated persons. Nama Kirtan has no fear attached to it. It is beneficial for all, since it acts both as a sadhana and a sadh. It is not given up at a certain stage for another practice, which must be learned with extra endeavor and time, such as karma followed by gyan, followed by yoga, and followed by bhakti. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur also gives some interesting points. It is understood from this scripture that bhakti is the method. Among the angas of bhakti is one of them asserted as the king. So, actually, Sukdev Goswami in this verse is concluding that bhakti is the superior, and within bhakti, which is the anga, that is kirtan. Tara Madhya Sarvashresht, Nama Sankirtan. Niraprada Namalay Pai Pej. This verse answers. Chanting the holy name is the principal method. Among all the angas of bhakti, the chief ones are hearing, chanting, and remembering, as mentioned in the verse. That is the same series, it is there, 215. Tasmad Bharat Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shotavya Kirtidavyascha Smartavyascha Chita Bhayam. Oh, King Bharat, therefore the Lord Hari, who is Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Lord of Power, Sarvatma, Bhagavan, Ishwar, should be heard, glorified, remembered. Shrotavya, Kirtitavya, Cha, Smartavyascha, by those desiring freedom from fear. Ichita, Vayam. Among those three, chanting is the chief. Among the different types of chanting, glorifying the names, pastimes, and qualities of the Lord, chanting the name of the Lord is supreme. Now, I want to pause for a moment here. We had discussed different angas, kirtan. There is different types of kirtan and different evidences Rupa Goswami had given. Can anyone just remember, recollect, and raise your hand and answer this? In kirtan, anga, there are different types of kirtan, and then Rupa Goswami gives evidence. So what are the different types of kirtan? Anyone knows, can raise their hands. We have just recently studied this, maybe some 2 weeks back. Anyone remembers? There is Nam Kirtan. Okay, Govinda Prabhu is raising. Yes, Prabhuji.
Nama Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, and Lila Kirtan.
Yes, Nam Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, and Lila Kirtan. And for each one of them, Rupa Goswami had given evidence. Okay, so just as a recollection. So among the different types of chanting, glorifying the name, pastimes, and qualities, the answer is given here. The phrase Namanu Kirtan means either chanting the name according to one's bhakti or chanting the name continuously, since Anu means both according to and continuously. This has been ascertained, nirnitam, by the previous acharyas, not just by me in the present time. This is Sukdev Goswami said, it is already concluded that bhakti is the highest path, and among the angas of bhakti, Hare Namanu Kirtanam. And because of this, one need not ask for further proof. That is the meaning of nirnitam. What is this chanting of the name? It is without fear at all. What else can be said about chanting the name of the Lord, since there are no reservations arising from considerations of pure or impure time, place, candidate, or ingredients? Um, second verse of Shashtam also says the same. Even the lowest of humanity cannot tolerate service to the Lord, are not opposed to this process of chanting. Then it is not the highest process for both sadhakas and siddhas. The answer is given. It fulfills everyone's desires. Nirvidyamanam means those who are free from all desires, even from the desire for liberation. Thus, it refers to the devotees. Ichitan means those who have desires for Swarga or Moksha. Yoginam refers to Atmarams who are liberated. This is the process for the devotees, for those desiring material benefits and liberation, and for those who have been liberated. This process has been ascertained as suitable for both the sadhaka and the siddha, being both the means and the goal. There is also a famous verse in the second canto. Akama, sarvakama, moksha kama udaradi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajanti purushaparam. So same thing is stated in this commentary by Gajendra. Now the next evidence of Sri Nam Sankirtan is from the Adipuram. Very beautiful verse, very touching verse. Lord is speaking to, I think, Arjuna. Gitva mama namani vicharan mama sannidho iti pravime te satyam kritoham tasya cha Arjuna. By singing my names, Gitva, Gitva means to sing. Gita, Gitva it is. Gitva cha mama namani. Singing my names, a person will attain a position close to me. Vicharan mama sannido. He'll come very close to me. I make this promise. Iti bravime te satyam. That person, O Arjuna, purchases me. Krito tasya cha Arjuna. Kritarth. Kritarth means I offer my gratitude to him, and I become very grateful that I bring him close to me. So this is Krishna speaking to Arjuna. So Krishna speaks of this gratitude in Bhagavad Gita also 2.40. Salpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhavat. So this process has no loss or diminution, and little endeavor in this path will save you from the greatest danger. So any service done by the devotee to the Lord remembers it, and he is ever grateful in his heart, and he doesn't forget. And this is the benediction he gives, that he will see that he doesn't fall back in the material pool, the cycle of birth and death. Similarly, when Draupadi called out, when she was trying to be stripped naked in that assembly sabha, when she started calling out Krishna's name, but still she was holding on to some herself, her strength, and the Pandavas. And Krishna was playing dice with Rukmini there. And Krishna was saying, Rukmini, Draupadi is calling me. Why are you not ready to go? But when her calling was completely helpless and fully from the core of that heart, that calling brought out so much in-depthness in the heart of Krishna that Krishna immediately manifested. So that's what Krishna is saying here. He purchases me. This is a very beautiful quotation. So the next evidence is from the Padma Puran, Padmecha. Yena janma sahasrani vasudevo nisevita tanmuke harinamani sada tishtanti bharata. The names of the Lord, Harinamani, remain constantly, sada tishtanti, in the mouth of that person, tadmuke, who serves Vasudev, yena Vasudeva nisevita, for 1,000 births, Janma Sahasrani. In order to increase that person's eagerness for devotion, the Lord, by his own will make that person take repeated birth. Now, this verse and the explanation by Jiva Goswami has to be understood. Now, we need to see, especially the pastimes, whether it is Bhagavatam or in other scriptures, from the lens of the acharyas. Now, Ajamil, not sorry, Ajamil, King Bharat became attached to a deer, and at the time of leaving his body, he remembered the deer, and yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, he had to take a body of a deer. He took one more birth. He had to take another birth. And then he gave the deer's body up, and then he took a human birth, Jad Bharat. So 3 births, Maharaj Bharat, the birth of a deer, and then birth of Jad Bharat. So the Lord makes that soul take repeated birth. Why? To increase the eagerness for devotion. In fact, it's not that because Maharaj Bharat became attached to a deer, he was in bhava stage, and he went into a deer's body, that he fell down. In fact, in the body of the deer, his hankering and eagerness for the Lord multiplied more. And in fact, when he was giving up the deer's body, he spoke verses that are there in the Bhagavatam. Let me remember Narayan. Like that, he quit his body. How can a deer offer prayers? So his devotion manifolded, in fact, multiplied many, many times. And in Jad Bharat body, it multiplied all the more. So sometimes the Lord can give birth to his devotees, so to increase his devotion. Do you know any other examples in the Bhagavatam where the devotee was given more births so that his eagerness should increase? Any other pastimes you remember? Anyone knows can raise their hands. There is one devotee, IYF devotee. I would like to hear from the other devotees who are participating. Any other devotees? Okay, I'll just give first Devendra Prabhu chance. Yes.
Correct, Madhu. Yeah. So I think Gajendra is one example.
Gajendra, the next birth of his pastime is not there in the Bhagavatam.
Also, Bilo Mangal Thakur.
Bilva Mangal Thakur is not in the Bhagavatam. I want to know from the Bhagavatam. Bilva Mangal Thakur is the right example, no doubt. But I want from the Bhagavatam pastimes. At least 2 I'm able to remember now. So let us see if devotees can. Govind Dutt Prabhuji, yes.
Actually, I'm just forgetting the name. The king who fought for the demigods, and later he was not purified. Lord said, in next birth again he'll become a devotee. Then he'll get this thing.
Yeah, Muchukund.
Muchukund, yes, Muchukund, King Muchukund.
King Muchukund, he fought on behalf of the demigods, and that Kal-Yavana had come and Kal-Yavana was destroyed. He had darshan of the Lord, but yet because as a king, he said next birth, and in the next birth it is the same Pundlik who was in Vitoba, and then he attained the Lord. Yes, Devendra Prabhuji, which pastime? The Bhagavatam?
Yeah, Prabhuji, Narad Muni.
Yes, Narad Muni. Narad Muni in his previous life as a son of maid servant, he met the Bhakti Vedantas and quickly attained a very elevated stage. And when he was wandering in the Himalayas, he was tired, he was thirsty, he drank some water, sat in meditation. And immediately the Ashta Sattvic Vikars manifested, and he had the darshan of the Lord within. And suddenly the Lord disappeared and he became very disturbed. And he tried his level best to again focus, but seeing his perturbedness, the Lord in the sky spoke that this life you cannot see me. For those who are ku-yoginam, actually it is said that those who are still not pure. In fact, there was slight tinge of attachment to the mode of goodness. Jiva Goswami explains there. And just by that darshan, the hankering of our Naramuni as a maid servant, the Lord multiplied it so that he could give up that attachment and attain the Lord. So in the next birth, he became Narad Muni. Yes, wonderful. This was there in my mind. Any other example? There's one famous example in the Bhagavatam which is actually glorified in other scriptures also, in other Puranas also. And it is sometimes called as Bhagavatam is recognized because of this pastime. Anyone knows which other pastime in the Bhagavatam where that pure devotee was made to take birth again? Anyone else knows? It is, yes, Govinda Prabhuji has raised his hand. Yes.
Again, I am not remembering the name of the king, but he was elephant and Indradyumna Maharaj, and again he was cursed, and then he became Gajendra.
Okay, that is there, but still that pastime is not clearly, elaborated in the Bhagavatam. So I am looking for the specific pastime which the previous life is also quite elaborately discussed in the Bhagavatam. It is actually Chitraketu Maharaj,
Yes.
who became the demon Vritrasura. So his prema for the Lord as Vritrasura, although he was in a demon's body, multiplied more. In fact, and he wanted Indra to, quickly kill him so that he can go back to Godhead. So it was not that Chitraketu had committed any offense to Lord Shiva, but it was Lord's plan that he gave him another birth where he could quickly come, and so that's how he can get. The Lord can give another repeated birth to increase the person's eagerness. Okay, Yatas Tatreva means again in the Padma Puran. Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukta Bhinnatvam Nama Namina. Bhinnatvam it is, but the A is not, Ucharan is not done. The name of the Lord fulfills all desires like Chintamani. Nama Chintamani. It is the very form of Krishna. Krishna. It is full of consciousness and rasa. Chaitanya Rasa Vigra. It is complete, pure, and eternally liberated. Purna, Shuddha, Nityamukta. This is because of the non-difference of the name and Krishna. Nama Nami Abhinnatvat. So this is glorifying Nam Sankirtan. The name is called Chintamani because it bestows all things a person may desire. This is so because it is the Swarup of a Krishna. The other words describe Krishna. The name is the same as Krishna because it is non-different from Krishna. In fact, I recommend many devotees as a meditation. Before we begin our chanting, we should recite this verse from the Padma Puran and especially focus on Abhinnatvam Nama Nami, so that when we are chanting Krishna's name, I am present. Krishna is present in his name, so I should not be inattentive in my chanting. Otherwise, it will be Nama Prad. So this we should try to focus a lot. The meaning here is that the one tattva of eternity, bliss, knowledge, and rasa appears in two forms, Rupa and Nam. If one is particularly inquisitive, one should consult the chapter on Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Sandarbha. So the Bhagavad Sandarbha, quite detailed analysis of this verse is done. Yata tatreva. Another evidence. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grayam indriye sevan mukhe jivvado swayam eva spuritada. Krishna and his names, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, cannot be grasped by the material senses. Na indriya grayam bhavet. But when a person develops a tendency to accept the Lord's name and form, sevan mukhe Krishna then spontaneously appears. Swayam eva spuritada, on the tongue and in the other senses. Jivva ado. So in the sadhaka stage, we should understand that we should use the tongue to vibrate the holy name and use the tongue to taste Krishna prasadam. This is the business of the tongue. The tongue is a karmendriya and the gyanendriya. The tongue taste, palate is for tasting, and the mouth, jiva is for vibrating. So the more we engage with this, the holy name from the ear will go to the heart, and Krishna will get uh, become seated in the heart. And when one calls out the name, Krishna from the heart appears on the tongue and dances. So, but for sadhakas, most important is we should use the tongue to attentively vibrate the holy name and follow the regulative principles and use the tongue to taste only Krishna prasadam and not anything else. Sevan Mukhe means inclined to accept the Lord's name and form. He indicates accomplishment. There is a description of Bharat as he gave up the body of a deer. Oh, this description is there. This illustrates his spontaneous appearance of the Lord's name. Narayanae Hare Nama Iti Udharam Hasyan Mrigatvam Api Ya Samu Da Jara. He gave up his body of a deer, Ya Mrigatvam Samudjara, while smiling broadly. Udharam Hasyam, smiling broadly, saying, all respects to Narayan the Lord. Narayane Hare Nama Iti. So this name, what he took, this was completely a transcendental name, which is completely spiritual. Now, when we are chanting, we know there are these three stages: Namaprad, Namabhash, Shuddhanam. Namaprad chanting is not actually taking the name only. Namabhas also is not the name, it is a shadow of the name. Please remember. But only Shuddhanam. Shuddhanam actually manifests from the transcendental realms spiritual world and appears on the tongue of a spiritualized tongue. So that appeared by the inconceivable potency of the Lord, and that's why Maharaj Bharat gave his body of deer, offering respects to the Lord. There is also the case of Gajendra. Yes, Gajendra is also when he was caught in the elephant and he was battling with all his strength, but then he came to know, so he withdrew his senses and mind and he fixed his mind in the region of the heart and he spoke this verse. Evam Vavasito Buddhya Samadhaya Manoridhi Jajapa Paramam Japyam Pragjanma Anukshitam. Thereafter, Gajendra, deciding in this way, Evam Vivasito Buddhya, fixed his mind on his heart with his intelligence. Samadhaya Manoridhi, and chanted a mantra, Jajapa Paramam Japyam, which he had learned in his previous birth. Prag Janmi Anu Shikshitam. Okay, so we saw the commentary of Jiva Goswami on this. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? We have finished 63 Angas, Nam Sankirtan. Now the last one is there. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Suryakonda Prabhuji has a question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I would like to ask one thing. In Brahma Muhurat, we do chanting. So, which is the best one while chanting by walking or by sitting in one place? Because while sitting in one place, sometimes we sleep in between.
Actually, dhyan means to meditate or to concentrate on the holy name. Asana is the best. Asana means to sit in a particular asana. And that is the best, but devotees are not so accustomed, but we should try to do some simple yogasanas, and try to sit. In fact, we are not able to sit in chanting is because the mind is restless. The mind wants to continuously move up and down, go here and there, and it's restless. You just can't sit in one place. Just like a child, a restless child. Have you seen children sit in one place calmly, peacefully? They're just moving around, running around here and there, playing, doing this. So similarly, even the adults are same in one sense because of the restlessness of the mind. So sitting is the best in order to meditate and concentrately chant the holy name. So try sitting at least 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 2 rounds. When it is not at all possible, then take a walk. Because while walking, the mind can wander here and there and you cannot chant attentive. Walk on a place where there is, no obstruction and you have to just sit down. Walk one round and then again come back and again sit. But best is to sit and chant. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Any other questions regarding Nam Sankirtan, Sajati Singh, Swato these angas we discussed, scriptural proof? Okay, so then we will go now to the next. Sri Mathura Mandale Sthiti, residing in Mathura. This is a beautiful description from the Padma Puran. I will not read the verse, I'll just read the translation. Liberation is the greatest result. Muktir eva mahafalam. That can be obtained at other places. Anneshu punya tirteshu. But devotion to the Lord, Hari Bhakti, which is desired by liberated souls, Mukte Prataya, can be attained in Mathura. Mathurayam tu labhyate. Mathura bestows dharma, artha, kama to those who have material desires. Kaminam tri vargada. It awards liberation to those desiring liberation. Mumukshunam cha mokshada. It awards bhakti to those desiring bhakti. Bhakti icho bhaktida. What intelligent person will not take shelter of Mathura? Ka Buddha tam Mathuram na ashray. This is similar like the nectar of instruction verse of Rupa Goswami itself. In the nectar of instruction, in the 10th verse, Rupa Goswami is saying the same thing. I will just the verse and show you so that we can relish. Ka ashrayed. He says the same thing. Vaikunta Janita Vara Madhupari Rasosvad Vrindaranyam Udarapani Tatrarpi Govardhan Radha Kundam Ihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat Kuryadidas Virajito Giritate Sevam Viveki. So very similarly it's here. Ka Budaitam Maturam Nashret. And in the next verse of this Deshamrit, also it is Preshta Tadvad Yam Tadiya Sarasi Tam Na Ashret Ka Kriti. Who will not take shelter of Radha Kund like that? So very similar here it is mentioned. Who will not take shelter of Mathura? Oh, Mathura is most auspicious. Oh, Madhupuri Dhanya. And greater than Vaikunta, Golok. That is established in Rupa Goswami's nectar of Vaikunta cha Karyeshi. It will be explained later in the commentary on 12303 that Vaikunta means Golok, a part of Braja filled with Aishwarya. Mathura means Gokul. This will go to later on. By staying one day in Mathura, Dinam Ekam Nivasena, Bhakti to the Lord appears. Haro Bhakti Prajayate. See the glory of Mathura just residing one day in Mathura, Bhakti to the Lord appears. This is the glory of Mathura Puri. Now, after quoting these 5 limbs with emphasis, the 5 potent limbs, Rupa Goswami's glorification of the last items, now he gives some further verses which explain these things very clearly. Duruhadbhutam viryasmin shraddha durestu panchake yatra swalpopi sambandha sadhyam bhava janmane. The last 5 items, panchake, have inconceivable and astonishing power. Duruha adbhuta virye. What to speak of having faith in these items? Asmin shraddha duryastu. If there is just a little relationship with these items, yatra swalpapi sambandha, persons who are devoid of offenses, sadhyam, can attain the level of bhava. Bhava janmani. Now, in this verse translation, it is mentioned just in coming in little relationship with his five limbs, it can give bhava. So what is the difficulty, or where is the hunch here? Anyone can point out why we cannot attain bhava even though we are in contact with these five potent limbs. Devotees are every day doing chanting, they are reading Bhagavatam, they are associating with devotees. Sometimes devotees reside in temples, some of the congregation reside in their own temples as home. So practically Prabhupada gave the five potent limbs. So why bhava is not attained? What is the hunch here? What does Rupa Goswami say? Yes, Govinda Prabhuji?
Because of offenses too.
Yes, very clear. Persons who are devoid of offenses, sadhyam. So it is the offenses that block. So we should carefully avoid these offenses. Sadhyam here means that persons without offensive mentality. Not only offenses, if you have offensive mentality also. Many devotees have a misconception that in Kali Yuga, offenses in the mind are not considered. No. In Kali Yuga, any sinful thought also, if it comes in the mind, you will not be implicated. Means until you commit that sin, you will not get a reaction. In other yugas, even if that thought comes, you would be implicated in it fully. And in Kali Yuga is so glorious that any thought in the mind of a pious activity you do in your mind, without doing it, you get the result of that piety. So this is the glory of Kali Yuga. In other yugas, you have to actually execute that pious activity in order to get the result. But for offenses, it is not so. Even mentally committing an offense to a Vaishnava will have a reaction. So that is why Jiva Goswami is making clear offensive mentality. In fact, it is all the attitude and the mentality about these 10 offenses. Okay, now then the beautiful description will happen is that Rupa Goswami's glorification of the last five items with his own beautiful kavya poetic way, he further glorifies these five items in special composition of his verses in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we will see a few verses. Let us see. Tatra Shri Murti Yata. Now this is Rupa Goswami's own verse composition, and we'll read it. Smeram Bhangi Traya Parichitam Sachi Vistirna Drishtim Vamsinyastadara Kishalayam Ujjvalam Chandrakena Govindakyam Haritanu Itakeshititopakante Ma Preshtikastava Yadi Sake Bandhu Sange Stiranga. So this is a very, very beautiful verse, and it is sung in a particular meter. Smeram Bhangi Traya Parichitam Sachi Vistirna Drishtim Vamsi Nestadra Kishalayam Ujjvalam Chandrakena Govindakyam Haritanu Itakeshititopakante Ma Prekshitastava Yadi Sake Bandhu Sange Stiranga. Okay, let us see the translation. Oh, my friend, Sake, if you desire to enjoy with your friends and relatives, Yadi Bandhu Sange Ranga Asti, then do not look, Ma Prekshita, upon the form of the Lord called Govinda. Govinda Akyam Haritanu Ita, wandering near Keshi Tirth on the bank of Yamuna river. Keshi Tirtha Upakante. With a slight smile on his lips, Smeram, smile is there, posed with three bends on his body. Bhangi Traya Parichitam, eyes glancing everywhere in a crooked fashion. Sachi Vistirtha Drishtim, flute placed on his red lower lip. Vamsi Nyasta Adhara, like a tender bud, Kishalayam, and shining gloriously with a peacock feather. Ujjvalam Chandrakena. So one friend is telling, don't, if you have, if you want to enjoy with your friends and relatives, don't look upon Govinda who is standing on the bank of Yamuna in a three-banded form with his flute and on the lower lips, and is shining with the glorious peacock feather. So what this verse is actually saying, what it is saying, what is the purport of this verse? Anyone would like to throw light? It's saying, don't see Krishna. There's a beautiful picture of the BBT, Krishna playing his flute on the bank of the Yamuna. Very beautiful picture is there. Actually, I should have put that picture. I'll try to put it next time. What is this verse saying? What is the inner meaning of the purport of this verse? We have read the translation. Anyone would like to try? Audarya Gaurang Prabhuji. I'm very happy to hear from you. Yes, Prabhuji. I've unmuted you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Yes.
Actually, that means a person, those who want to enjoy with their friends and relatives should not go and see the Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna is so attractive, person will forget everything.
Okay. Anyone else would like to throw some light on it? Rupa Goswami is saying, don't go there. Don't see him there. So, anyone else? Actually, in a negative sense, he is saying, but he's saying actually see. Actually see. So, let us see what G. Goswami says. Using his own sweet words, the author in 5 verses that follow expresses his ecstasy about the 5 items that he has mentioned in verses 90 to 92. By saying, do not look, the author actually means that one must look at Krishna. He's saying, Smiram, Mahaprekshita, don't see, don't see. But actually, the author is saying, look, one must look. By experiencing the sweetness of the Lord's form, you will consider everything else to be insignificant. Therefore, look at that form. This is the intention of the prohibition. He's saying prohibition, Mam, Prekshita, don't see. But this is the intention, the inner meaning is this. Very, very beautiful verse. Now, own glorification of Rupa Goswami regarding Bhagavata Artha Rasa Aswado Rasike Saha Shri Bhagavatam Yata. Beautiful, beautiful shloka here. Sankhe Nita Sapati Dashama Skanda Padyavalina Varna Karna Dvani Patikatam Anupurayat Bhavadhi Hambo Dhimba Paramashubhadan Hanta Dharmartha Kaman Yad Garhanta Sukamayam Ami Moksham Api Akshipanti. So once again I'll recite. Sanke Nita Sapadi Dashamaskanda Padyavalina Varna Karna Dvani Katam Anupurayad Avadhi Hambho Dhimba Paramashubhadan Hanta Dharmartha Kaman Yad Garihanta Sukamayam Mami Moksham Apyakshipanti. Oh, idiots! Goswami is saying, Hambo Dhimba, idiots. How fortunate you are, Hanta. Hanta is the exclamation. I think, Sanke, you must have been hearing all the syllables. Sapadi Varna Karna Dvani Patikatam Nita. One by one, Anupurnayad of the verses of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Dashamaskanda Padyavalinam. Because your ears are now denouncing Yad Garihanti. Garihanti means denouncing the most auspicious goals. Parama Shubhadhan. What are the auspicious goals? Of Dharma Artha Kam. Dharma Artha Kaman. and even decrying the fourth goal of liberation, moksham api apshikanti, which is most blissful, sukhamayam, because Brahmanand, that also declining. Why? Because your ears are hearing the syllables of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and now your ears are denouncing dharma, artha, kama, and even moksha. So here, Chief Goswami says, this is the praise of the Bhagavatam using the device of criticism. So in Alankar Shastra, different words can use with different intention and meanings. This and the previous verse are examples of literary ornaments, Alankar Shastra I said, called aprasuta prashamsa, conveying the subject by something that is not a subject. Now, Kavya Prakash, these are Kavya Shastra, they said, na? Karya nimitte samanya vishesha prasuti sati tad anyasya vachas tulya seti cha panchada. When irrelevant topics are introduced in reference to a topic at hand, it is called aprasuta prashamsa. There are 5 types. Stating the effect when the cause is the subject. You're stating the effect when the cause is the subject. Stating the cause when the effect is the subject. Stating the general when the particular is the subject. Stating the particular when the general is the subject, and stating similarity. So we'll not go into it because these subjects we cannot understand. But it is a literally ornament. Aprasut prashamsa. It is being condemned, but actually it is being glorified here. That we should hear the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. By hearing that, what will happen? We will, moksha labdha, even will denounce moksha. So here the Dashama Skandha. Instead of the general topic, details of the topics are introduced. The general topics are, what happened? Okay, the commentary is still there. The general topics are serving the deity and hearing the Bhagavatam, but details are introduced as a focus. The aim is actually to become aware of the greatness of the general topic. Moreover, in the previous verse, because the intention is to praise the form of the Lord, the literal statement that forbids one from seeing Govinda is not the real meaning. Similarly, in the present verse, the real meaning is not contempt for hearing Bhagavatam, expressed by saying, "Oh fools, hambo dimba, oh fools, you are hearing Bhagavatam and denouncing dharma, artha, kama," like that. Because the auspiciousness of dharma, artha, kama and the happiness achieved through liberation is actually surpassed by the supreme bliss of attaining by bhava, induced through the hearing of 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. In these 2 verses, the subjects are praised by the use of extreme criticism. To praise an object by criticizing it is an ornament called as Vyajastuti, indirect eulogy. Now, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur commentary. Varna eva karna dwani patikatam nita means the syllables of the Bhagavatam have become travelers on the pathway belonging to the ears. The implication is that foolish persons have not understood the meaning of what they have heard, just hearing the syllables. Oh idiots, Dimba, you must have been hearing, because from hearing those syllables, whose ears are now criticizing dharma, artha, kama and deriding even liberation. By extreme criticism in 2 verses, one can understand that the author is praising the subjects in the 2 verses. This is the ornament called as Vyajastuti. This one belongs to Kavya Shastra, but at least we can appreciate what Jiva Goswami is writing commentaries in Vishnu Chakra. Krishna Bhakto Yatha. Now, association, power of association of devotees, Sajati Snigdha. Drikambodhi Dauta Pulakapatali Mandite Tanu Sakalananta Pulo Dadyat Ati Pratum vepatam api drisho kaksham yavan mama sapurusha koap upayayo न जाने किम तावन मतिर इह गृहे न अभिरमेते दृक् अम्बोभिर् धौतपुलकपतली मंडिते तनु सकलम् अन्तपुलो तद्यात् अतिप्रतुं वेपतमपि दृशो कक्षयां यावन्मम सपुरुषो कोऽपि उपाययो न जाने किं तावन्मतिर् इह गृहे नाभिरमते. Now this is a very interesting translation. Hear this. Ever since I saw Yavat Drisho, a certain person whose body was washed with his own tears. Dig Ambobir Dauta. Dauta means completely washed. Ambo means water. Washed with his own tears. That means this person is in Bhava and Prema stage and tears are coming from his eyes. Whose hairs are standing on end. Pulka Patali Mandita Tanu. Tanu is body and there is hair standing on it. Who is stumped around with a joyous heart. Sakalan Antafulo. Antakaran, he's experiencing the ecstasy. While quivering to the extreme. Ati Prutam Vepatamapi. So ever since, now one person is saying that ever since I saw that person who has the sattvic vipars, what has happened to him? My mind, Mamabati, has for some reason, na jane kim, at least this is very clear to understand, na jane kim, becomes so attached to the form of Krishna, Saha Purusha Upayayo, that I have no attachment to my family. Matir iha grihe na abhiramate. So this person happens to be a grahastha and somehow he is very attached to family, children, and he has gone somewhere and he happens to have a darshan of a pure devotee who is ornamented with the Ashta Sattvic Vikars. Now, the pure devotee in his heart is attached to Krishna and he is under the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord. And by great fortune, if somebody has darshan, he also now becomes attracted to Krishna because that pure devotee is attracted to Krishna. This attraction to this pure devotee is not the attraction of this world for a male and female. This is under Maya. So we all know that when the male gets attracted to female, the mind goes into a different mode. So, but this person who has got now seen darshan of this pure devotee, now his attraction for Krishna has awakened, and now he has no attraction. Na jani kim. I'm not attached to. I have no attachment to family. So this is what is the effect which has happened. The power of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Namayata. Yadavadi mama sita vai ni kenanugita. Shrutipatam agashatror namagata prayata anavakalita purnam hantakam apyavastam tad avadi dadyat antaramanasam samyativa. Ever since Yadavadi, I have heard Mama Shrutipatam Prayata, Narad singing Vainike Anugita on his Veena, the names of Krishna, Agashatrur Namagata, which pacify the ears, Sita, my heart has become completely blissful. Tadavadi Tadyat Antarmanasa Samya Tiva, fixed in an unprecedented Anavakalita Purvam state of prema, calm avastha. So the power of chanting of the holy names, as I mentioned, it's not just chanting, it is nirapradnam. So Krishna, the state of we experience bliss in the heart, we experience chanting ecstasy in the heart. That means we are free from the offenses. So this is the power of chanting of the holy names. Sita. Now this is the commentary of Rupa Goswami. Sita here refers to cooling effect of hearing Narad chant the names of the Lord. Material existence has a burning effect with its pain. Now, I want to mention you some experiences we cannot fathom what Rupa Goswami is saying. Sometimes when we hear pure devotees kirtan, what a cooling effect it has on our heart. All devotees have experienced. In fact, very exalted devotees chanting, they are chanting in ecstasy, and being near them, also we can experience a glimpse of that ecstasy. In fact, so this is the effect what Rupa Goswami is mentioning in his glorification. Hearing and the chanting of the name relieves a person from material suffering. Vainika refers to Narad who cleans the veena. By not naming it directly, all devotees of similar nature are indicated. The extraordinary state, kam avastam, is actually prema. I told you, it is highest state of chanting. Eva is simply ornamental. Shamyati means the mind, giving up all external objects, becomes completely blissful. Now, the last one, Mandal. Shri Mathura Mandale Yaha. Atabhuvi Kritakanti Shamalayas Tatinya Sputita Navakadambavalambi Puja Virepa Niravadi Madurimam Madurimna Manditeyam Katam Me Manasi Kamapi Bhavam Kanana Shri Stanoti. The splendor of the Mathura's forest, Kanana Shri, made beautiful, Kritakanti, by being situated on the bank of Yamuna. Shamala, yes, Tatinya, where buzzing bees, Puja Dvirepa, take shelter of newly blossoming Kadamba trees. Sputita Nava Kadamba Alambi, ornamented with unlimited sweetness. Niravadi Madhurimna Manditeyam, produces an extraordinary state of bhava in my mind. Me manasi kam api bhavam tanoti. So I mentioned, if you remember, Mathura refers especially to Vrindavan or the confidential places of bhajan, like Rupa Goswami's bhajan study there, kadam, like that. So here it is very clearly brought out, it is on the bank of Yamuna. Now Rupa Goswami further glorifies Alokik Padarthanam Achintya Shaktir Idrishi Bhavam Tad Vishayam Chapi Ya Sahaiva Prakashayet. The inconceivable power, Achintya Shakti, of these extraordinary five angas, Idrisha Alokik Padarthanam, is such that it will manifest. Ya Prakashayet, the state of Bhava in its object, Krishna. Bhavam Tad Vishayam Chapi, at the same time, Sahaiva. From the text, one can understand that these five angas are extraordinary. This is confirmed by other verses as well. Concerning the deity form of the deity is said. Now he gives, the Jiva Goswami actually gives, it's not that only Rupa Goswami is glorifying in his own composition, but in the Bhagavatam also it is mentioned. Now here is the verse from the 10th canto, 12th chapter. I'll just read the translation. 5 minutes. We'll finish this. Takrit yad anga pratimantar ahita manomahi bhagavatim dadyogatim saiva nityatma sukhanubhatyabhi vyudhastamayo antargato hi kim puna. If even only once or even by force, sakrit, one brings the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead into one's mind. Yad anga pratima antar manomai ahita. One can attain the supreme salvation by the mercy of Krishna, as Agasur did. Bhagavatim gati dado. What then is to be said, Kimpuna, of those in whose hearts the Supreme Personality enters when he appears as an incarnation, or those who always think of the lotus feet of Krishna? Antargatohi, who is the source of transcendental bliss for all living entities. Sa eva nitya atma sukha anubhatya, and by whom all illusion is completely removed. Abhi viewed us the Maya. So here the verse is mentioning just once bringing the form of the mind. What is the effect? So that is actually Rupa Goswami has glorified Ma Prekshita. Don't see, because once if you see, then you lose all attachment to your family. So this is the potency of bringing the form of the Lord in the mind. Then regarding Bhagavad, this is the famous verse. Dharma projita kaito atparamo nirmatsaranam satam Vedam vastavamatra vastu shivadam taptrayon moolanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kim va parerishvara Sadhyo ridya varudyate atra kritibi Shushubhis tatshanat. Sadhyo ridya varudate. I'll not go into the translation, but immediately the Lord comes in the heart for the accomplished. But those who are not accomplished, they have to repeatedly hear and it will happen. So he's giving proof that the potency of, Bhagavata Ras Aswado, studying the scriptures. Then association. One more verse from the 10th canto. Bhava Parago Brahmato Yad Yadha Bhavaj Janasya Tarhi Achutta Satta Samagama Sat Sangamo Yari Tadaiva Sadgato Para Vareshe Tvai Jayate Mati. When the material life of a wandering soul has ceased, Yadha Bhava Brahmato Janasya Apavargo Bhave, O Achyuta, he may attain the association of your devotees. Sat Samagama. Moreover, when he associates with them, Sat Sangamo Yari, there awakens in him devotion unto you. Tadaiva Tvai Jayate Mati, who are the goal of the devotees, Sadgato, and the Lord of all causes and their effects. Para Vareshi. So this is the power of association. Bhagavatam also gives this proof. Then concerning chanting the name of the Lord, 6th canto, Ajamil's pastime. The chanting of the holy name of Vishnu, Vishnu Nama, Vyavaranam, is the best process of attainment. Eva su nishkritam, for a thief, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or a relative, for one who kills a brahmana, for one who indulges in sex with his wife, with the wife of his guru or another superior, for one who kills women, the king, his father, or cows, for all sinful men. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons attract the attention of the Lord. So the power of chanting is given Praman from the 6th canto. And reciting Mathura, he gives Praman from the Brahmanda Puran. Parananda Mahi Siddhir Mathura Sparsha Matrata. One achieves the highest bliss just by touching Mathura. Vishnu Thakur. Bhav and the Vishaya of Bhav Krishna appear at the same time. Saha Iva. Now we have finished the 64 limbs of devotional service. 5 potent limbs also we have finished. Now there are other small topics which Rupa Goswami is going to clarify. The first one I'll just show here so that we are prepared and we take up next week. What are the primary and secondary benefits of performing the limbs of bhakti? This is the first topic. Then Rupa Goswami goes on to tell what Varnashram duties are not limbs of bhakti. And then Jnana and Vairagya are not limbs of bhakti also. So this is what he'll be clarifying. And the goals of Jnana and Vairagya and other processes are achieved by only bhakti. And that will end the second wave. There is no other theme, I think. Yeah, Jnana and Vairagya. Then other prominent practices which do not constitute the limbs of pure devotional service. So this is also one small thing. And Ekanga Bhakti or Anekanga Bhakti. So these are the small topics. Then we will begin with chapter 15, that is Raganuga Bhakti. Chapter 15 is Raganuga Bhakti, I think. Yeah, spontaneous devotional service, which will deal quite in brief, we will be dealing. So the other subtopics after the discussion of sadhana bhakti are few. There are 3-4 topics. I think in 1 or 2 classes we can finish. and then Raganuga Bhakti we will start. Raganuga Bhakti has 40 verses. We'll cover in brief that. So the next 2 classes we will be starting Raganuga Bhakti. We have another 4, we can say 4 chapters left, 4 or 5 chapters left, and it is brief, not to worry. Any questions, any clarifications? Anyone has? I will be now sharing the slides with you all so that you can go through the slides and also go to the Nectar of Devotion summary study. Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai, Srila Rup Goswami Pad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.